We weren't live on StreamYard. That's all right.
No.
You
But,
know, if Jamie was here right now, that wouldn't have happened. That would.
well, she doesn't look at the
You're
computer.
right. You're right.
But yeah, so I'm one of those few fortunate people who's blessed to have my day jobs actually lines up with my night job, where you know they're the same thing pretty much, and not a lot of people get to say that. So, you know, for those that like to support live music, go out there and support it. You know, throw a tip in the bucket, go buy a hat, koozie, shirt, whatever. If they're smart enough to have CDs on the table, you may not have a CD player, but you'll still have their CD, and you'll be able to, you know, that's one of those things that you'll have, you know, when streaming finally dies, because something else will come along, you'll still have the CD, and you'll be able to plug that into that old fashioned CD player or your computer or whatever. But yeah.
Isn't that crazy how technology works?
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean, like people are like, oh no, you're going to stream forever. And it's like, okay, well, that's
Maybe.
just not, you know, people thought that with CDs. People thought that was, you know what I mean? Like
maybe you don't know where the technology is going to go next, but we went from 8 tracks, which was on, you know, a little box that you plug in, and then it went to a cassette tape, which is kind of similar in how
just smaller
in how it was recorded, right?
Yeah.
It was recorded on a smaller film. And then it went to MP3s, which you'd have to plug into your computer, and now you have to buy a subscription. I saw a meme about that today. It was like, why are Gen Xers so angry? Because we had to go through all that.
Yeah, exactly.
We had to keep on, you know, I was listening to my Garth Brooks or my Chris Ledoux tape or 8-track, and then I had to switch over to tape, and then I had to switch over to CD, and now I have to pay a subscription, and I can't just listen to it whenever I want because I have to have a subscription to do it. So.
And I remember when
thanks for lightning bolts,
you
Michael.
Could stream. Now you don't want to hear this because you're an artist, but I remember when you could stream for free. I remember when they were just handing that stuff out.
Yeah, was it LimeWire?
LimeWire, yeah, that was a big one.
There was another one.
Started with an N, but I don't remember.
Napster.
Napster and LimeWire. They were just handing that stuff out like candy.
Yeah, well, somebody had the CD. It was already recorded. It was loaded in their computer, and, you know, God bless them, they took the time to do that.
Yeah.
But everybody else was just like, all I got to do is click download.
Yep. Yep.
I got like 10 viruses on my computer.
Oh, yeah. Viruses was a nonstop thing. But that's the other thing is you got to experience or you got to gain the experience of how to get rid of a virus off your computer.
Yeah, exactly. Great change. Oh, the whiskey's here.
All right. Production is doing production things. She's like, all right, it's time for whiskey.
All right.
Yes.
So, you say, oh, yes. So you obviously know this one.
I know this one.
All right. The last episode, neither one of us knew it. Well, we ended up knowing it.
I don't remember the name of it, but I know what the flavor is going to be.
Fair enough. Well,
it's going to be
right off the bat. It tastes smells very chocolatey, very sweet. It's right in my alley, by all means.
Oh yes. This is definitely a Greg Atkinson.
Yeah, that is a cocoa smell if I've ever smelled one.
Let's give it a taste. Let's see. Go ahead and see what you like.
Cheers, my friend.
Cheers to you. And while you're doing that, Michael says, I need to bring CD back and get rid of downloading. It'd be nice, but I just don't see that ever happening. As much as I would agree with you, because Greg apparently liked his whiskey. I don't see it happening because there's too many companies making too much money, and there's too much access, and people want everything now. They don't want to go to the store and buy it. So, you know, you and I, Michael, we both have that old school mindset of, you know, the musician is trying to keep their career moving, and that CD is one of those things that helps that happen. It helps to pay the recording costs. It actually gives a label a reason to be there.
Right.
But, you know, we're unfortunately not there. So now the artist eats all the cost, but we're not in debt to a label anymore. So that's the trade-off.
So, yes, I did like it. I did get a comment on here. It says, drinking in uniform on the department page. That's crazy. One, I'm not in uniform. This is not our uniform. This is just a shirt that I picked up at a training.
Had to buy that out of his personal wallet.
Yeah,
so
personal
that
wallet.
He could have some fire department merch.
Okay, not quite that bad, but yeah. 2, I have a driver with me.
I'm in uniform too, by the way.
2, I have a driver with me, and 3, I am completely all about being real, and I drink on my time off, so it is what
You're
it is.
You're a police? So. No, he's a fire department.
Fire department, yeah.
And
I'm
a musician.
Chief.
See,
yeah, he's a musician. Hence the name Rhythm and Rescue.
You zoom in.
So
my name in there. Jamie-
your
Ja-
name is on that shirt.
yeah,
I didn't even
Jamie
notice.
did a
Look
good
at that.
job of hiding it
The
in there.
Chuck
so
Weimer music. Yeah.
some
or
people
Chuck
You
just
Weimer
wanna-
bought me that shirt. Yet.
Well, let's be honest. I don't pay attention to what I buy you. You say I want that, and you get it. So it is what it is. So
Michael says, always somebody trying to start crap and just
Yeah,
drink and be merry.
just drink and be merry. Yeah. So, anyways, no, I would never drink in uniform, and I always have a driver, and we always drink
Oh,
responsibly.
that's
But
too bad.
myself and Chuck Weimer, we do like to sample whiskey. You're never going to see us. Well, I'm not going to say never because you never know what's going to happen. But you're not going to see us drunk on the podcast. But we do sample a glass of whiskey, and that was really good. That was
Let's say, what do you
100%.
think?
That was 100% right up my alley. And there was definitely a chocolate. Yeah. I just said I don't get
I
drunk
knew-
on the show.
I knew it was going to happen, but I had the pleasure just now of I got to block the first person off of my TikTok, and
Oh, good job.
and I get to do the second one.
All right. So what are we
Uh,
drinking? What is this? This is
That is cookie dough.
Dough Ball cookie dough whiskey. I did not even know they made a thing. If you like cookie dough and you like whiskey, these two things ought to go together, and they do. Is that camera still on? I don't even know.
Yeah, it's on.
All right,
Yep.
cool. So there's that one. There's that one. I would absolutely drink this. This was delicious.
So that one's going to go home with you tonight.
Yeah.
Because I don't
Yeah.
keep those in the house.
Although, You know what happened to the last one you sent home with me?
you drank it.
No, it's still sitting in the freezer. I don't drink unless I'm on the show with you. We've talked about this. I never drink outside of the show, and because I'm on call every other night. So on the nights we do the show,
Maybe I need to like have a section of the cabinet just sectioned off for when you come over,
just
and
me.
then we just well, all right, Greg, we're not going to do a new one tonight. Which one would
you
you
got to
like?
do one of your old ones. Yeah. So yeah, every other night I'm on call. And so the nights that we do the show, somebody picks up my slack and takes over and is on call for me. But so I don't drink unless I'm here with you or it's a really special event or really special occasion.
Yeah.
So
before I have to block more people, just so you know, Jamie's back on over on TikTok.
Hey, Jamie.
Jamie, I see a thing next to you, and I think I set it up last time. I believe I set you up as a monitor or moderator for our TikTok lives. I think you can actually boot those people, so I don't have to.
She said, that's my cabinet. You took over half. That's funny. How long in the fire service? I've been in the fire service over 20 years. So
Michael says that we should pick somebody to give a bottle of liquor to on every episode. But I think
are you going to sponsor us, Michael? That's expensive.
Yeah, we talked about this on the last episode where we're not really getting any financial sponsors just yet. We do have Black Creek, who we talked about earlier. They sponsor us as they bring us out. They provide drinks while we're out there, and of course, I think they've been actually paying for for our meals out there as well. So we appreciate them. And then we have another sponsor, humdingerboots.com, who they provide everybody who uses the promo code ChuckWeimer24. I believe it's 15% off. So if you go over to humdingerboots.com, ChuckWeimerBoots.com.
How much of that did you drink?
None.
Your glass is still
I had
full.
a sip.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Fatigue. If you go over to humdingerboots.com and then use promo code ChuckWeimer.com or ChuckWeimer24, then I'm sitting here reading and talking at the same time. All this is being edited.
This is all being edited
all
right
being
here.
edited.
This will never make the actual broadcast.
So anyway, if you go over to humdingerboots.com and use promo code ChuckWeimer24, you can get 15% off, and they are one of our sponsors. But again, not a financial sponsor, but
that's a humdinger.
We really appreciate all the support from those folks. And yay, we got both our sponsors in the first 20 minutes.
Look at that. We forgot last time. They're in there now. That's good.
Oh, nice. Let's see.
So,
okay, hold on.
We were talking about
Hold on. Michael Anthony said, once a month, I'll sponsor a bottle giveaway from Broken Duck Feet Production for your show.
God bless you, Michael. You're in. We're going to take you up on that.
All right.
Look at that. Building sponsors right here on the show. You guys get to see it live. We'll promote you as well.
Humdinger's on, he said.
That wore me out. He's like, that's the worst ad I've ever heard.
Don't worry, we actually did the read. So
Janie said me too.
I'm just getting kicked
We're
around
plugging
right now.
in the actual read. Don't worry. Your ad is safe.
Michael, I'm not sure. I think we have each other's phone numbers, but I'll send a message to you or you send one to me. If not, Jamie, if you could send him a direct message so we can make sure we have phone numbers, and then we'll get with you offline so that we can square that away and figure out the best way to do it. We'll go over that with you and find out how we're going to handle that. So looks like we have a third sponsor now.
Yay!
Broken Duck Feet Production.
Broken Duck Feet Production.
Yeah.
Black Creek and Humdinger.
And Humdinger Boots.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're
so,
moving up the world, man.
yeah.
People are actually starting to take notice. I did have a question over here. When are we going to hire full-time people? I've got exciting news on that.
Oh, for the Divine Fire Department.
For the
Yes.
Divine Fire
'cause
Department.
Rhythm and Rescue doesn't need full-time.
No. We're not even part-time. I think everybody listening knows that.
And when I show up, apparently I'm not even here. So I'm just causing the listener stress.
They're like, no, we could tell you guys aren't full-time. We know. No doubt about it. There's no question.
Speaking
So-
of which, we need to bring Michael on too. So
Yes,
let's talk
Michael,
about-
we
let's
would
talk
love to
about
have you
that
on.
later. Okay, full-time. What do we got?
Yes. So we are starting the hiring process for full-time with Divine Fire and Rescue right now for the first time in history. We are about to hire 6 new full-time firefighters. We're going to have 3 shifts of 2 people each. 4896s. We're going to run 4896s on the shift. And so we're extremely excited about this. This is the first time in history that we will have paid firefighters on shift every single day, 7 days a week, 365 days out of the year.
That is fantastic. Where do I apply?
Well, you can go to
3 days a week.
You 2 days a week. Well, actually, it is 3 days a week. So, but it's a rotating shift, so that's
yeah,
not going to work
I can't,
for you.
I can't do.
Yeah.
Friday,
So it's
Saturday.
3 days a week because it's 4896 shifts. So you're going to work 2 days, and then you'll be off 4 days, and then you'll work 2 days. So in a 7-day work week, you're going to work 3 days. But you can send me a resume to chief@divinefire.org. Again, chief@divinefire.org. And then the next question I had was, are you all on Spotify? I'll let you
We
know
are.
that.
Yes, we're on Spotify. It's Rhythm and Rescue on Spotify. The image, if you want to turn that around, they can
Yes.
see all the things that we're on. And the image on Spotify is going to look like that firefighter with the guitar. It's a little psychedelic. It's pretty cool. You had a third question about that as well. Jamie wants to know if there is a work from home position.
There is not. You know, that's funny, but I have actually legitimately been asked, can I do this position from home? And I'm like, you're a firefighter. No, you cannot. And the response was, well, you had volunteers doing it before. They were doing it
Well,
from home.
Of course they can. They can volunteer.
Well, and I was going to say, if you want to work from home, you can be a volunteer. That's the only way you can do it. But no, our paid positions are actually going to have to be in the building.
That's funny. Yeah. So I think we need to get some guests on too. That's one of the other things that we need to.
Well, you just said Michael
Well,
Anthony's
that's
going to
why-
come on.
That was my
Yeah.
segue.
Oh, my bad. I just ruined your segue. That's why we edit this. Go ahead.
But Michael Anthony being one that we definitely need to get to bring in so that we can talk about the sponsorship and just when that goes live, when that's official, then we'll have him on and we'll let him announce that, and also all the other stuff that goes along with his music and
Absolutely.
what takes place with Broken Duck Feet Production, because I know he's a lot.
Now, is that Michael's production company?
I'm not sure, but I think can he bring a duck? Yeah,
Absolutely.
But he has to be dog trained because my dogs they're weird.
Are your dogs duck trained?
No, but they live here.
Oh.
You know what?
They take precedence.
You know what we'll do? We'll bring him out to Black Creek, and we'll have him out on that one. And
He definitely can't bring the duck there.
Then we don't have to worry about the dogs.
I think that's food standards. I think
I
there's
don't know.
issues.
Well, then you just have to keep him out of the kitchen. That's the only thing, because they might try and cook him.
Is he an emotional support
And
duck?
this has gone off the rails like most of our shows.
Keto wants to know: is it an emotional support duck? That's a fantastic question too, I think.
Legitimate. That's a legitimate question nowadays.
But once we get everything ironed out and finalized, then we can bring Michael on, and we can have him basically announce it in person on the show. And then if people have questions, of course, that'll be one less viewer. But yeah.
That's the problem with bringing our viewers on as guests is we lose a viewer. Oh, man. Yep. This is pretty much like every other episode. It's gone off the rails. I know we had a
Stacy Dean's back on. and
Hey, Stacy.
Stacy says that if there's work from home positions, they wanted to.
Michael said he's 6 foot tall. It's a 6 foot tall duck.
I'm just
I'm out.
curious.
I'm out.
I'm just curious.
Oh, goodness. Stacy Dean, no, it is not a work from home, so no, you can't do it. Although if you'd like to work from home, you can volunteer. That's perfectly fine.
That's hilarious.
God
What else
bless
do
you,
you got
Stacey.
over there? I see.
Oh, man. We're all over the place.
There's all
over here.
kinds of stuff coming through today.
Yeah. Dilly, Texas is on. Chase, thank you for being here from Dilly, Texas. God bless you for being here. And God bless you. Yeah. All right. So
Stacy wants to know how everybody is. We're doing good. Jamie's in Colorado. She's doing good. She's over her altitude sickness now, and it only took a couple of days. She took this stuff called Acclimate, and that helped.
Oh,
her,
yeah, that helps.
helped her get cleaned up a lot quicker.
So let me ask you a question about that.
Okay.
Let's
About
just be
altitude?
honest. No. About Jamie being gone.
Oh God,
Let's be honest. Jamie runs this house.
she does.
So what are you doing?
What am
Yeah,
I doing?
I noticed you came in tonight and you yelled for your son who wasn't here.
Well, I did get a message from him while we were doing the first podcast that said that he went with Grandpa to church. So,
Okay. All right. So they
um,
were at church together.
yeah,
I was
well,
right.
What we had talked about that initially. Your intuition was correct.
Yeah.
But he had sent me a message while I was in studio saying that he wasn't going to church because the person who was going to give him a ride had something else going on. And then when I got home, he was gone. So I was like, "Where's he at?"
Hope he went to church.
Well, I just figured he if he didn't tell me, then he would have talked to. He would have told Jamie, and yeah, she says that Grandpa dropped him off.
So Jamie, let's just be clear.
Still-
Jamie, who is in Colorado, knew where your son was, but you in the same house as him had no idea.
Yeah. So to answer the question of what do, I don't know yet.
I don't know yet what my position is.
So here's the rundown of how everything went. Saturday night we played Pipe Creek Dance Hall, and this is for everybody listening right now. This is 2 weeks ago. Saturday night we played Pipe Creek Dance Hall, had a great show, amazing.
I love
place.
the fire department there, Pipe Creek.
If you ever get a chance to go out to the dance hall itself and see the indoor part, it's actually kind of set up kind of like a wedding venue.
It looked gorgeous.
It did
was
look
amazing.
gorgeous.
And they actually they're getting booked for a wedding from folks that heard us playing music while they were driving by going to Bandera, who
Nice.
That's
decided, you know what,
awesome.
let's just stop in because this sounds pretty awesome. And I don't know if it was the music, just the fact that they had music. And then they came in, loved the place, and they're booking. It looks like they're trying to book their wedding there.
Bye, Michael.
Oh, see you later, Michael. And then the owner enjoyed the show so much, she's trying to get us as the band to play for the wedding. So all that's all kind of lining up real nice. But that was Saturday,
Right.
which leads me going into a Sunday morning, which is when I would normally be going to bed.
Right.
So I'm staying awake, and I got to wake Jamie up because I got to take her to the airport at 5:30. But she ended up not going to sleep. Well, it was going to be at like 7. She ends up basically laying on the couch until, I don't know, 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And then I drive her out to San Antonio airport, and then I drive back. So for me, it's an hour and a half round trip, just boom, boom.
Right.
And then I
Just kick her out on the curb like a stray cat.
you have to, because TSA doesn't like you sitting there.
Oh, you know, you're gonna bomb the building. I don't think I can say that.
Yeah, you
I'm
can't.
probably
Why not?
gonna get flagged.
That's okay. We're not monetized on YouTube. We'll be fine.
It's fine.
So drop her off at the airport, and then I come back, go to sleep, get up, go to work. Then I come home, go to sleep, get up. My son tells me about football practice. I get about 2 hours before I got to go to work because they're 12-hour shifts. So, I mean, you
Of
know,
course.
those are long days, but, you know, it makes up for it where I don't have to work on Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night. You know, I don't
Only
have to work
working
those
3
nights.
days a week doesn't
Yeah.
hurt.
Not as much. Like, there's a trade-off. So some
Sure.
people are like, well, you only get 2 hours a day with your family. Well, that's only for 3 days.
Right.
The other 4 I get to spend with my family, you know,
Right, which is pretty awesome.
instead of, and it's only 37 and a half hours or whatever. So
Right.
either way, so now this morning was the last day of getting off work, going to sleep, getting up,
Right.
but I had studio. So I had to go to sleep, get up at 12 so I could get everything ready so I could go to studio be there by 3. And now we're doing this. So yeah, Jamie said when I work days, we only got a couple hours anyway. You know,
Right.
we basically sit there until I'd stretch it and stay up till 10 o'clock just so I could hang out. But yeah, so then I went to studio. So then I got to go to sleep, and then I got to get up and go to the range tomorrow, which is a good thing that I really didn't enjoy the whiskey tonight. So because now I don't drink too much of it, and I can actually get up and go shoot guns.
Glad I have a driver.
Yeah. Friday I'll have a show out in New Braunfels, and I actually get a day off on Saturday, which is cool because the Bears are playing. So
I will tell you.
So what do? I don't know. I get up and start moving.
Yeah. So
That's legit.
we have said this numerous times. If this is the first time you have listened to our podcast, go back and listen to the other episodes, because I will tell you that neither me nor Chuck really have any idea what we do. Our ladies run our lives by no stretch of the imagination.
The most comical part about this is this could be a really structured podcast where like every week we wouldn't be talking about 2-3 weeks ago, but we don't have the opportunity to be around each other except like this week. We were going to have
We've
it last
tried.
we were going to have it 2 weeks in
Yeah.
a row, but then
Life.
it's this week, and was it next week? I don't know. Keita knows, but
Yeah.
I was looking. I have
We
to go
don't-
look at my book.
yeah, we
I
don't know when the next one is, but it's not going to be next. We don't have week by week by week,
Right.
so we can't just set it up for if we're going to keep this on a schedule so that it comes out on streaming or on the streaming sites weekly. We have to record multiple episodes in one night,
Yes.
and that's where
Jamie does. She's in Colorado. She was like, it's in
she
2
said
weeks.
in 2 weeks. Hey, my son's home. Good job.
Yay. By the way, Matthew,
made
before
it.
I leave tonight, I have to kick your butt in NCAA 2025 or 2024, whichever one's out. It's happening.
All right, there you go, y'all. We got the challenge. Greg, the fire chief of Divine Atkinson, is going to go up against QB1 JV Lytle High School Matthew Weimer and freshman in NCAA College 25.
Now, were
Ooh.
you ever a gamer?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you play the original NCAA football and like?
Oh yeah.
Because I played football
Back in
baseball, all that.
2014.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I used to have like the NCAA baseball, the NCAA football. I liked them better than the major league stuff. I really did.
Yeah, didn't have baseball. I had football, and I would always get the college football, and I'd get
Yeah.
Madden,
Yeah.
and I'd take my guy.
Because then you could ship the guys
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this: for NCAA college football 25, it is not as easy as it
Am I about
was
to get my
back in
butt
14.
whooped?
No, I'm just talking. I honestly, the play style against somebody, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I haven't played against anybody.
So I've not played the new version.
I could tell you this though: I've tried to run my career kind of thing, and I cannot beat the number 2 quarterback to take
wow.
his job. Now, granted, I was a little bit in the bag when I tried to do it as a running back. It was after a show, and people just
3
kept,
whiskeys in,
No,
and I couldn't find the
they just
hole.
kept buying us all kinds of stuff. But yeah,
Because you're the running back, right?
I couldn't
Couldn't find the lane to run through.
I couldn't do it as a running back, and I couldn't do it as a quarterback when I was sober. And yeah, so I can tell you it's a little bit more complicated for the windows that you got to throw through and the challenges you got to do to take over that job in the career mode. But in the dynasty mode, if you remember, you'd get through a season and it really didn't matter how bad you did.
No.
You'd have about 5-10 colleges that were
Yeah.
like, yeah, you can come over here and be a coach
Yeah.
for us. I did. I started with UTSA, which isn't a slouch college. They're
no,
all right.
I like UTSA,
I went 5-7, I think it was.
which is fair.
And the only other school that offered me a job was Army.
Wow.
Yeah, it was bad.
Wow.
I was like, okay, so this,
I do not want any Army Navy jokes right now.
I
not
was
one.
like, this is going to be challenging.
I'm outnumbered. I know better. Thank you.
Kat told me to tell you hello. She's a fan.
Hey, what's going on, Cat?
So
Which Cat?
Cat 5.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
So-
if you were talking about Cat from. There's a Cat in Lytle.
Oh,
who-
Stacy Dean switched over to mine.
Traitor.
Yay, Stacy. That's awesome.
No, it's good. We appreciate all the support on both sides.
Absolutely. She
Um,
said, had to show Divine Fire some love too.
Oh, yes. Well, we appreciate all the support. And like was it on this one or was it on the last one? Either way, make sure you check us out on Spotify as well. Go back and listen to the previous episodes. That way we can build up our numbers over there.
Absolutely.
I'm going to keep it short this time.
You know, it's funny. One of us always, the reality is we get excited about what we're talking about and we just continue to talk.
Just have fun talking to each
That's
other.
it.
Yeah.
We enjoy each other. We legitimately are friends even outside of here.
Yeah. So if you ever want to, we explain, I remember it was the last episode that we explained what this podcast is.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to hear two guys who don't get to talk all the time, just have a conversation
About nothing.
about whatever's going on in life, just be able to sit down, have a drink and talk. This is what, especially for the ladies out there,
100%.
This is how guys talk.
Absolutely.
Kind of.
I mean, a little more scaled back, but yes.
Yeah, we're not usually throwing out this much information, but
Right.
the information when we get to talking to each other about something, this is how we talk to each other. This is how guys talk in general, from my experience. Yeah, so that's a reason for the ladies to listen, and then for the guys to listen, look, you just drink with us.
By the way, you should try cookie dough whiskey. It's really good.
What was it?
Dough ball.
Dough ball. Yeah.
Dough ball.
Dough ball for all you watching at home.
Cookie dough whiskey. If you like the sweet, sugary whiskey,
Yeah,
which you do not.
No. If you're, I don't even have a drink for you. If you're a Blue Hawaiian kind of person, that's the one for you.
Blue Hawaiian. That's funny.
If you like a mixed drink, if you like your seltzers, your Mike's
What-
Hard Lemonade,
What is your favorite whiskey?
I'm a really big fan of Garrison Brothers.
Yeah.
A lot of it has to do with just kind of that they support veterans and everything. And another part of it is
Which we both are.
their whiskey is
Actually, all three of us.
their bourbons are just fantastic. But I don't know if it's kind of the hype over it. Like, I got to play there, I got to try a bunch of their stuff. It's good,
Sure.
but I think next week we'll do the Slow River blend, and I do remember liking that one. So we'll see. We'll see.
I
if
think that's one
might
that we
be it.
both like.
We never drank it together. Slow River blend I did with the mayor.
I think that we both enjoy the Slow River blend.
We might,
I think we do.
but we never drank it together.
We haven't drank it together.
Yeah.
So we'll try it together, at some point. We're not going to say next episode because we do blind,
Well,
but
that one will be in there. I will say that.
okay.
because-
Well, never mind.
well,
Blind went just out the
one
window.
of them's going to be blind, but that one's going to be in there.
Fair enough.
And I say that because I'm going to want it open.
Because it's set for close for too long.
But I will say in 2 weeks, so it won't be next week, but well, it will be when you're listening to this. But in 2 weeks when we record again, then we'll crack that one open, and whatever else we happen to find. Oh, whatever the other one that Keita bought.
Oh, yeah, because she brought two and you
Yeah.
brought two.
I brought 3.
Oh, you
You
brought
I
three.
wasn't sure, so I have
Overachiever.
2 more.
Sweet Jesus.
That's what it
Well,
is.
we only do 2 episodes a night.
Well, there
Well,
have
sometimes
been
we do 3.
nights that you do 3,
Yeah,
and I
rarely.
wanted to come prepared.
Nah,
So-
you can't say rarely.
How often
Honestly,
do we do 3 in a
The
night?
last time we recorded was the first time in a long time that we had only done 2.
that we
and
were
it was
here.
Yeah,
Because typically when we go to Black Creek, we only do 2 because we only have
I was
time
going
for
to
2.
say, because Black Creek's only 2.
well, and we only did the one that one time because there was a tornado watch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That one
so
we got out early.
yeah, but
Okay, I
we
guess we've done 3.
whenever we're
Yeah,
here, we
you
typically
typically do
3.
3 here.
Yeah,
Are we doing 3 tonight?
no,
Okay.
no,
thank
because
God.
I got to go to the range tomorrow, and I'm
Ooh,
supposed
sweet
to have.
Jesus.
Matter of fact, I'm at the cutoff right now where I can't drink anymore. Otherwise, I'm violating the terms.
Oh, question. This is for you because I know this is a fan. Thoughts on Basil Hayden whiskey?
Basil Hayden. I don't think I've tried that.
You've not
one.
had that?
No.
Oh my gosh. Okay, next
Okay,
week is
I'll
not
go
blind.
get it.
Slow River Blend.
Slow
and-
River Blend and Basil
and
Basil Hayden.
okay.
Because Basil Hayden is right up your alley. Actually, my Captain Delucia, this is what he drinks.
No, Captain, my Captain.
No Captain, my Captain. That's rum. No Captain, my Captain. I'm in charge now. Look at me. Anyway, movie reference. If you don't know it, you should go watch
I'm
it.
the captain now.
I'm the captain now. But yes, Basil Hayden is a fantastic whiskey that you will like. I say fantastic whiskey because he likes what you like.
Okay.
It is not something that I drink on a regular.
All right. All right.
So we need to try that.
Well, you had a question last episode, and I'm gonna give a brief answer on that one.
What was my question?
Your question was about the recording process.
Oh, yes.
See, that's how you know that I haven't drank a lot, because I remember I'm just tired and
I'm
can't
just over
talk.
here.
I just can't talk.
Clanging my cymbals. I'm just the dancing monkey.
That's usually me. The recording process is, as you can tell by my voice, right? So I haven't had to sing since Saturday, and my voice still sounds kind of raw right now, right? And that's because when you go into studio, when you actually go in to cut a final vocal, you're not cutting just one time. You're cutting multiple tracks
Right.
of the same thing. So you might get the first verse, maybe you get that in one take, but you're gonna do it again just so that there's
Of
other
course.
options to pull from,
Sure.
because who knows, maybe they're gonna go back and they're gonna melodyne it and make it that you end up doing your own harmony or something.
Well, in reality, Mac, your producer, he
Mhm.
can splice those together and make it so
it's so clean.
amazing.
So clean.
Yeah.
Actually, if you listen to the ads, I got pretty good at it at one point where the ads, you can hear the music kind of runs together.
Yeah.
I don't have any songs that sound like those.
Right.
There's not that much music on any of my songs without a lyric showing up somewhere. So yeah, that's he's really amazing at being able to do it with a vocal, though, because he can actually, like, you can see the chunks on the screen right now, and you
Right.
can say, okay, I can see how everything looks right there. Well, he can say, okay, you were singing the chorus here, you were singing the verse there, this is where
That's
you started the
amazing.
bridge, and it's like,
Mac's amazing.
how can you do that? And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I've been doing it for 30 years. That's
Yeah.
kind of he sees the matrix now, right? It's all
Absolutely.
numbers for him. He's like, hey, look, pretty girl. And how do you know? And the code, I see it. I can read it right there. So yeah, you go through and you do multiple takes of the same thing. That way there's multiple options. So if something just didn't sound right, then he can cover it up with something else. And you, for like a song like today, the song is real wordy,
Right.
real fast in how fast those words come in, but it's not rap, right? So
Right.
you can't just be like,
But breathing is
right.
That's important.
And you can get away with a lot of stuff on a live show with breathing, but when it's going to be there for posterity forever, like,
Right.
it's going to sound like this forever, then you want to take any breathing imperfections, or you just got weak on that last syllable, you want
Right.
to take all that out, especially if you're pushing the radio or have the opportunity to. So yeah, that's the recording process.
So I guess my question was not to change that up, because that's great. That's good information. But my question for me is, when you go in and you have, because, like, for instance, there are weeks where you do 4 shows in a week.
Yeah.
Right. And then you still have to record. What do you do? I mean, what is it that you do that protects your vocals?
So usually we don't do a recording. We don't do a studio session when I have 4 shows.
Okay.
We actually had one lined up when we were going to be going out to do
Right. Because I know that week was
yeah.
like you had like 5 things to do that.
When we were going to do Monte Carlo night, we were going to have studio and then boom, 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 boom. But I think one of the shows fell through on that one.
It did, yeah.
Yeah. So it ended up giving me a little bit more vocal rest. I try not to talk as much during the day. That's really the best thing I can do is just, I mean, people don't realize that the voice is, the vocal cords are a muscle. And,
Right.
After singing as much as we have over the past few years, mine are a little bit stronger than a lot of people's, but, oh, thanks, Tink. Miss you too. Tink said, hope to see you back in South Texas soon. But for the average person, they don't hold sustained sounds with their vocal cords. So
Right.
talking, you might hear that. They may sound raw at the end of the day from just talking, right?
Right.
Somebody who works in phone centers and stuff like that. And that used to be the case for me too. I'd be lightheaded by the time I get home and just loopy when I was working in a call center. But when you're doing music, it's like going to the gym.
Right.
So
Because you're sustaining that note for
right.
multiple counts.
Yeah. And you're doing it on multiple takes.
Right.
And we got 3 shows. I got to do we don't change our set. So, when we're doing Dancer Home, my voice knows where to go on that. It's a muscle memory thing. It's like doing push-ups. It's, I don't have to. I'm not trying to reach to find something. I know where to go. I know
Right.
how far I have to push that before I can go into the next rep. And then the same thing is when I go into studio, I'm going over multiple takes on that. But that's where the fatigue comes in, because a show is kind of like a hit workout, a high
Right.
intensity, right?
Real quick, boom.
Yeah, we're just going from exercise to exercise to exercise. But then in studio, it's more of, you're building for endurance, right? So, and it's not even designed. You're not trying to build there. Like, you
Right.
should be built before you got there.
You're
but
not thinking about it that
Yeah.
way. That's just what it is.
that's the only thing that's come to my brain on how to explain it, though, is that muscle is now I'm flexing it for an extended period of time.
Of course.
And when we do that, we try to get it. If we ever have multiple shows lined up, my studio time is usually on a Wednesday or Thursday.
Okay.
My studio time doesn't line up in the middle of the music work week,
Okay.
right? So usually that'll be the first thing I'm doing. Now,
Makes sense.
when it becomes challenging is when we do 4 shows and then the next week I have studio, because after those 4 shows, you need more time to recover.
Of course.
And sometimes, you're just hoping you're doing one of those gravelly songs at that point.
Yeah. Well, and I will say that I can tell when you have done a lot of shows or you've done extensive work in the studio, because you do get more of that gravelly sound.
Mhm.
You get that.
A lot of vocal fry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so, I'm not gonna lie. When you told me that you had a show drop before Monte Carlo night, it didn't hurt my feelings in the least. I was like, all right, that means he's going to be fresh coming into Monte Carlo night. But I will tell you this, and this is not just because he's my partner, and just not just because we're friends, but the reality is I've never heard you sound bad. And
well,
when you
thank you.
talk about
I was
really-
told the other day I need vocal lessons.
fair enough, there's always going to be haters.
It wasn't a hater thing. It was just kind of, hey, you sound great, but if you're going to go do something in Nashville, which we're not sure about yet, but if you're going to do something in Nashville, you might want to go get some vocal lessons, just as kind of a give you some techniques to have you ready for
Sure.
that, because it's a different environment.
Of
When you
course
go
it
up,
is.
those are the best players in the world,
Right.
are there. So you want to go up there and you want to be on your A game. But yeah, it's like
But-
Division II college versus going to the NFL.
Yeah. Well, there's actually a lot of Division II guys that went. Anyways,
I know.
let me digress.
The Bears have a quarterback.
Yes, they do. I was going to say that.
He owns all the records.
Yeah. Yeah. To be honest, in Division I and Division II in college, I know we're diverting here, but do you know what the difference is in those usually?
Well, I don't personally, because I didn't play in it, but I can tell you that the Bears, their number 2 quarterback is Tyson Bagent, who is a Division II quarterback. He owns all the records in Division II for quarterback, passing, touchdowns, all that stuff, completion percentage, whatnot. He was talking on a podcast with CHGO. I'll give them a quick shout out just because I listen to their stuff, even though they have a lot of fillers. And the last one, it sounded like they were all running uphill, taking like super deep breaths. I don't know where they were at, but those are the things that drive me crazy. They did an interview with Tyson Bagent, and he was talking about, it's not so much the skill players that are super upgraded. It's the trenches. It's the linemen.
Right.
The linemen are so much more, they're on such a higher level, going from Division II to NFL or going from college to NFL, that it doesn't even look like the same game anymore, because those linemen are so fast, big,
Right.
Strong. It's like, wow. So anyway,
so my son played JUCO basketball,
Mhm.
right? A little different than
I feel
football,
bad. I made him
right?
wait and hold that
No,
whole
no,
time.
it's
He was
okay.
like,
You're good. That's good information, right? But my son played JUCO basketball,
Uh-huh.
and he was surprised by the talent level when he got to JUCO. And the JUCO coach told him something that I have been telling him for years. And the difference is between Division I, Division II, Division III, and JUCO, the difference typically comes down to affordability
Mhm.
and grade point average.
uh,
Because at Division III, they're not giving sport scholarships; they're giving academic scholarships.
right.
And so, if you couldn't make it on a sports scholarship for whatever reason, but you had a 4.0, you can go to a Division III, and you're going to get an academic scholarship, and they're going to give it to you so you can play football, basketball,
And because
whatever.
you're the smart guy, you're probably going to be able to get on the team.
Exactly.
Because everybody else there is smart, but they may not be as talented.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're talented and you're smart, and so that's the difference. And so by the time you get to Division II and Division III, now not only are you playing talented guys who are just phenomenally like the 1%, right? But now you're playing guys that are talented and smart, and that's tough because now you're playing like the Tom Brady's of the world.
Well, yeah. That's actually one of the things that I think is fantastic for Matthew is he's not the biggest kid out there, right? So for him to and again, I'll even go into this because I'm not sure if he is quarterback one for the JV squad in Lytle or if he. I'll know by the time this drops because I think he'll already have a game by then. But one of the the coach had said something along the lines of, all right, QB1, get in there. And it could have just been, it was his time to take the rep.
Sure.
Or it could be, he basically unseated QB1 and now he is QB1.
Sure.
But one of the things that stands out about him is his intelligence where, once he knows the plays, and this is one of the things that kind of frustrated him in the beginning is he didn't know the playbook.
Right.
But I think part of that might have just been they didn't know whether he was going to be backup JV or backup varsity or if he was going to be on JV. But he understands the playbook and he gets to understand the playbook and what everybody's supposed to do, not just what he's supposed to do. So he starts learning what the linemen are supposed to do.
God,
where
that
are they
makes you so
supposed to
good.
protect, right?
Yeah.
All right. So if I know that, my right guard is supposed to just basically push up and take out the linebacker that's going to be coming down on the blitz, then, and I also know my running back's supposed to pick up the defensive tackle that's about to come through that lane. That's going to close down my right side.
Yeah.
Right. So I need to kind of either back up. I need to make it a deeper drop, or I need to shift over to the left so that my running back has room to get up there and block that guy.
And what so many kids his age don't understand that he obviously gets, which is, okay, the play is the play, right? So if the play goes off perfect, great. But what he's already prepared for is when it doesn't.
Right.
Because he knows what everybody's supposed to do, which means he knows where he is supposed to be in case things break down quickly.
Yeah. Like if for that, just for that example, right? So the right guard goes off and he goes after the linebacker, and the halfback ends up, instead of going to pick up that defensive tackle, ends up tearing off like it's a screen pass. And
Right.
Wait, well, I got to go.
I got to go.
I don't
and
have
I can
time.
only go left.
Yeah, I can only go left. I can't
Yeah.
go right, or, depending on how slow that defensive tackle is, maybe I can, break his ankles and I can cut around him to the right.
Right.
That's going to give you even more time. But if not, I'm going to have to throw this ball while running away from my arm.
The other direction.
Yeah, I'm going to have to run away from my arm and throw this ball, or I'm just going to have to go.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that's actually really cool about watching. When I watch him play, I'm just like, man, that's awesome. And, as his accuracy gets better, it's going to be even more fun to watch, because that's probably, I won't say no part of his game is weak, but if there was a weak part of the game, that would be the weakest part of the game.
Sure.
It's just the accuracy, but that was last year. And I've already seen improvements on it.
Sure.
With him throwing the ball to me, or when we took him out to Manning Passing Academy, just watching him, all the things that he was doing, his accuracy is tightening up a lot. And he was watching the game with Lytle and Hondo yesterday. He had a friend over. They spent the night because they had practice this morning. And as he was watching that, he's like, do you want to watch the game with me? And I was like, yeah, sure. But we're going to have to skip through. So we only need, because I have 30 minutes before I had to go to work. And I could look at a couple of plays and be like, all right, you see what you did there? That one's a little high. And then, the same thing on the next play is a little high. And then that next play, he was like, no, well, on the first play, he's like, well, if you look at that defensive tackle, I wasn't able to make that throw. I had to throw it up. I had to lob it.
Right.
And that was a completion. He got it to his receiver. The receiver caught the ball, but he got tackled immediately. Right.
But the defensive tackle was in his face, so he couldn't just throw a straight line.
I was watching the arc.
Right.
And I was like, if you bring that ball down, he's like, I couldn't. Watch the defensive tackle comes down on me, and he's in that throwing lane.
Yeah.
And he's taller than me, so I can't. If he puts his arms up, the ball's on the ground.
That's an intelligence that most kids his age doesn't have.
47 years old, I didn't see it.
Right.
I was watching the trajectory of the ball, and I'm thinking, oh, well, okay, that makes sense. And but then on the next play, he's like, and it wasn't to argue. He was just pointing out the things that he saw. He's like, yeah, but that hit the receiver in his hands.
Mm-hmm.
He just missed it, you
True.
know?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I said, well, yeah, but if you bring it down a little bit, he's not reaching up to get it and worried about his ribs getting taken out. He's catching it in his chest. And,
Right.
then that's a completed pass instead of going through his hands, where he has to make an athletic move to get the ball into his breadbasket. Instead, you can just put it there,
And now knowing Matthew, I know he's going, okay, so that defensive tackle was coming down on me. How do I sidestep him? How do I get around him so
Right.
that I can bring that down so he's
Yeah.
not worried about his ribs?
Yeah.
Like that intelligence is something that's what makes Brady Brady. That's what makes Manning
Yeah.
Manning. That's what makes these great guys great.
Yeah.
That intelligence. And so I told my son all the time when he was talking about playing at the next level that, look, don't sleep on JUCO, right? These guys they might not have been great students in high school or whatever, but they're very smart when it comes to the game. And he found that out real quick. And he was still very successful. Don't get me wrong, but he called me that first day and he was like, Dad, this game is so much faster than I'm used to.
Oh yeah.
Like it's just so much cleaner and so much better.
My brother, he played baseball, and he started off in JUCO, or Mesa Community College, and then ended up over at Dallas Baptist on his third year. I think they won the championship that year, as a matter of fact. But it was a much different experience for him because, he was, pitching, playing first base, whatever he was doing. But when he got up to Dallas Baptist, it was he wasn't putting the ball deep in over the wall anymore.
Right.
And he was a right-handed first baseman.
Right.
So like that's what I said, like, well, are you going to go put yourself in for the draft? And he's like, there's no point.
Right.
I don't hit the ball hard enough. I can, but I don't. That's not how I play. I get on base, but a first baseman, they want putting the ball
very much so.
They want
Yeah.
deep hits off a first baseman. And I'm a right-handed first baseman. So
which is also something you will very rarely see in
you don't want a right-handed first baseman, but if you have one, he better be Frank Thomas.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
He better be bombing it. So he's like, yeah, I'm going to end up on like a single A team to start with, and I might be able to work my way up, but I'm going to be $50 a week and riding the bus everywhere
and living in a house with 5 other guys that are on the same team. Yeah.
And he was getting married at that point, or he just got married. So that wasn't going to be his thing. He's like, it was fun while it lasted, but that's not my thing now. And I was like, well,
that's what so many people don't understand is when you get to the professional ranks, you're talking about the best of the best.
Well, yeah.
You're talking about there were 300,000 people that started in this in high school. It quivered down to about 30,000 in college, and by the time you get to the pros, you're lucky if there's 3,000 that are able to do it.
Oh yeah.
And so you're talking about the best of the best.
Well, you're saying 3,000 over all the positions.
Over everybody,
right?
And that's professionally. So
because if you're talking about kickers,
right,
there's 32.
Exactly.
Right.
That's exactly right.
If you're talking about punters, there's 32. There is no second guy.
Right.
There's no backup for that.
And even in baseball, so when you talk about 300, you're talking about at A, AA, AAA, major leagues, right? So you're not talking there's 300 guys that make MLB. No. That's not how that works.
Right.
And so you're 100% right. When you're talking each position, you're talking there's 32 guys. Like that's what there is. Like, and so
when you get to linemen, there's a little bit
there's
more
a few
opening.
more, right?
When you get to receivers, there's a little bit more of an opening. They're gonna have multiple on the roster because they gotta have the backups,
right?
And those are skill positions. You gotta have those.
Sure.
But there's going to be 32 number 1 receivers.
Yes.
Right. That guy who's out there getting all, he's the first target. There's 32 of those
because
guys.
There's only so many Marvin Harrisons, Reggie Waynes, like there's only so many of those guys that like you're not going to find them because they are the best of the best. They're not only athletic, but they're also smart. Yeah. So,
but that's where the XFL or now the UFL.
I love the UFL.
I'm glad that came along. Yes. When it was the XFL and the UFL, 2 different organizations. I think there was more positions then, but now that they're combined, I think they could start getting the
traction.
Well, the audience, the attendance necessary to start paying those guys a little bit more. And And then you still have the CFL,
Yeah.
Canadian Football League and all that. So there's a few different avenues for a professional
Football
player.
Yeah.
But those few avenues, only one really pays.
Right.
It's like the difference between the NBA and WNBA. Like,
correct.
Until they have attendance, you're just not going to see big paychecks.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and so we're almost at an hour, so I don't want to start the WNBA conversation, but that's a whole nother conversation about what's going on right there right now, because they're about to explode. I mean, they've got
The
this,
WNBA?
yes,
Mm.
this Clark lady. Have you watched her?
I have, and she's fantastic.
Oh my
she's
gosh.
amazing. Right?
She is
But
like, she is the kind of transformative player that could change a league.
But what's his name? Bill Burr
Yeah.
said it best. It ain't going to mean anything until women start watching.
Well,
And women don't spend their time watching basketball games.
See,
I won't say all of them. I say it as a general statement. The majority of women are they're not going to watch the game.
I disagree with that. And the only reason I say that is because the true sports fans, the true sportsmen, I should say, because I don't want to say sports fans, because there are female sports fans, but the sportsmen who have carried NBA, NFL, all of that, they're starting to tune into WNBA. They're starting to pay it notice,
Right.
And they have started to move the needle pretty drastically.
That might last until the first controversy, or
Well, that's true.
Whatever.
We'll see.
Because guys will watch a sport that they're interested in.
Yeah.
But when you go to the talent level, and this goes to all kinds of different things, but the physical specimen, you don't see a lot of women dunking, right?
No, right.
And this is the one thing that I really could care less about in basketball, but that it's made it more dynamic, which is why it's gotten to be
that athleticism.
such a huge thing. Is guys that are driving the lane and just dunking on somebody else. I mean, there's even a term where if you beat somebody in a conversation, you dunked on them. Like it's become common vernacular, and you don't see women doing that. You see a lot of 3 points. You see a lot of finesse stuff, but you don't see the highlight play.
The best part of that conversation. You're 100% right. I'm not. You're right. But do you know when that kind of transformed, even in men's sports, when dunking on somebody really became a big deal? Michael Jordan. Before Michael Jordan, it wasn't really that big of a deal. As a matter of fact,
that was kind of the cutoff point. I would say it goes more to the Larry Bird, Magic Johnson,
right?
Because Larry Bird was,
but neither one of them
3
really
points.
Yeah, exactly. Neither one of them really dunked.
But Johnson was getting in the lane along.
He was
with
starting
Will
to,
Chamberlain
yes,
and everything.
yeah.
They were actually backing him down the
Very
lane,
much so.
and then they jump up and just put the ball in the hoop. But Michael Jordan was he was the premier, and that was when the dunk contest somewhere
that's where it really
shortly
took
before
off.
him. But and then honestly it was the silliest dunk. That was the one that everybody sees now, right? It became a shoe brand,
right?
Where he jumped from the free throw line, and
right?
It was like, okay, there's a lot of guys that can do that. Pippen did it
now, right?
But
back then,
Pippen did it.
But
next year,
nobody. Well, exactly. But nobody really did it before Jordan,
right?
Not that they couldn't. Dr. J absolutely could have. Chamberlain, come on, that guy had arms long enough from the free throw line.
Wilt
the Stilt, right? He could have done it from the free throw line, but nobody did it. And then Jordan did it, and all of a sudden it was like, and then posterizing people, right? Putting people on a poster by dunking on them.
Yeah,
that was a Jordan move,
and so it was a cool poster.
Absolutely, I hung
Larry
them up
Bird
in my room.
Shooting over some,
not really a cool poster,
but he's taking a shot over somebody.
Yeah.
You can't even get both.
You're like, okay,
frame,
that's cool, right?
It's like us half the time on the podcast.
But Jordan dunking on Will
can't get us both in the frame. I don't know how to set it up.
But I think Caitlin Clark is that kind of athletic ability for the WNBA. Yes, it's not dunking. Yes, it's not. But she has a talent that I think transcends what was there prior to her.
I hope that's the case. I'm going to say that because I think that they're putting in the effort, they're putting in the hard work, and they're not making as much for what they put their bodies through. I don't think they make enough for that sport, right?
But it takes viewers. It takes buy-in.
It takes attendance at the arena.
Attendance at the arena.
And that's the
huge.
Thing, right? Because, I mean, you can even look at it right now. Women's soccer, it was the same thing where people weren't in the stands.
Yeah.
And they were the best that there was.
Yeah.
Right? But nobody was in the stands. So if you don't have ticket sales, you can't pay somebody with money that doesn't exist.
So that you're 100% right. Indiana is known to be a basketball state, right? I mean, that's just, it's known to be a basketball state. Women's basketball at Indiana University, which is, I mean, one of the premier basketball schools in the country, did not sell out until this year. And they sold out Assembly Hall and sold it out, like packed out. And I think part of that was because of first of all, what IU basketball was doing, which was phenomenal stuff, because they've been successful for so many years. But then also Caitlin Clark shining the light on, hey, women are getting pretty good at this. You might want to pay attention.
Yeah.
And then IU basketball.
And last year they went so last year we went to a women's game for $5 a ticket.
Yeah.
I believe it.
And they were good.
And they went deep into March Madness.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, there was a little while there you can go to a White Sox game for $5.
Well,
that's
too.
true.
So, I mean,
true.
it comes down to, hey, we need to sell some seats.
Yeah.
But that's just
We'll
it.
lower the price, but they're
Right.
going to raise the price when
And they did
supply and
this
demand,
year.
Yeah.
So they had, two different. So used to it was $5 you get in the building. Other than the family reserve section,
Yep.
you could sit anywhere.
Yep.
Yeah.
We used to be able to go to the games and sit, 5,
Courtside,
6 rows off
essentially.
the
Yeah.
Let
court.
me ask this.
Okay.
What were the concession prices?
Same.
Same. Concessions didn't change. What changed
So
was how
there's-
many.
That's a part of the problem.
One of the things that did change is how many of the concessions were open.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I'd imagine there'd probably be half.
Yes,
if
correct.
If even that many. But think about it. Because the concessions are outrageous. Right?
Always have.
Oh,
They're
correct.
outrageous. They're making so much of a profit on a. They're selling a $1 hot dog for $7
Yeah,
or whatever, right?
Yeah, crazy.
But if you're having a hard time with attendance, one of the things that goes along with attendance is I don't want to take my family out, go drop $100 on tickets, another $150, $200 on going to dinner first because I'm not going to drop $1,000 on dinner at the stadium, because
Yep.
it ends up taking it's way too expensive.
Yeah.
We
Now-
literally took
They could scale
all
it back.
but one child to a basketball game this last time. There were 7 of us.
Uh-huh.
I don't even want to see the bill at the concession stand, and they went twice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Think about that.
Alamo Dome, right? We went and watched the circus. Okay.
Oh gosh.
We went and watched the circus. The circus, they only used half of the Alamo Dome.
Mhm.
So you can
They usually
imagine.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can imagine half of the concessions were closed, right?
Mhm.
They were still charging
DNC,
full
they do the
price.
same thing. But go ahead.
But yeah, they fair enough. They were still charging full price at the concessions that they would if you were using the entire stadium, and so you were getting a popcorn for $14.
Right.
And I'm like,
Do you want
we're
people
at the
to be there or not?
circus,
Yeah. Do you want people to be there or not? Like the concessions don't have to be that pricey.
right?
So if you want to, because men's basketball didn't start at $150 a ticket.
No,
It didn't start that way.
not even close.
And concessions didn't start at $20 a hot dog.
Not even close.
They started at 10, 15,
Yeah.
$20 a ticket. And you'd go in and you'd have dollar hot dog night.
Yes,
Right? You still have that at the Missions game over here in San
love the
Antonio.
Missions.
If the Missions still play, I think they do.
they do. Yeah,
Um,
and they still have dollar night.
well, that's why they fill their stands.
Yes,
It's not because you're going out and watching fantastic baseball.
and we go out on $2 Tuesdays. That's when we
Right.
go.
You're not going out and seeing, I don't even know who any of the baseball players are these days, but you're not going out and seeing professional level
Right.
baseball.
You're not watching Mark McGuire, Sammy Sosa,
Right.
Barry Bonds.
You're,
like, that's
you're
not
going out
happening.
there and you're watching Tim, who works at the
Yeah.
gas station,
Right.
because he has to actually go make money somewhere. But you're filling the seats because the concessions aren't ridiculous and the ticket prices aren't ridiculous.
Correct.
Now, when there's a demand because they're fantastic,
Absolutely.
then those prices are going to go up. Like the San Antonio Brahmas, is that what it is
Yeah, the
for
Brahmas,
the UFL?
yeah.
I expect their tickets are going to be they're going to cost a little bit more next year because they made it to the championship game this year.
So funny thing about the Brahmas, I had season tickets
Got
last year.
smacked around, but they made it.
Yeah, well, I had season tickets last year
Uh-huh.
when it was the XFL and the UFL, right?
Yeah.
The XFL and the Brahmas, the Brahmas just they were horrible. We went to every home game and it was
We ended up not going to the last game.
an atrocity. I mean, it was bad, right? And so this year I let my season tickets go, whatever. And
Yeah.
they make it to the championship and I'm like, gosh darn it. And not saying we're trying to be fair weather fans, but I honestly thought I knew, first of all, it had already broke that XFL and UFL were about to to mix, right? And
Yeah.
so I didn't know how that was going to look.
So is San Antonio going to have a team?
Is San
or is it only
Antonio?
going to be
Yeah,
Houston and
exactly.
Arlington?
Was it going to be one of the ones that was dropped? And so I was like, okay, I'm going to hold off. And then they made it to the championship this year, and I was like, gosh darn, I wish I had my tickets. But I will tell you, even then, when we bought the tickets last year, had they been more expensive than they were, I probably wouldn't have got them.
Right.
And the first time we went, I'm like, I'm watching a losing team and still paying $14 for a popcorn. Like,
Right.
this sucks.
The
This
co-
is not
the
good.
Concessions are the problem,
Yeah.
especially when you're trying to generate attendance to something that is not at the level of the thing that caused you to raise concession prices to
Right.
begin with, right?
Right.
Nobody would have ever thought of raising a hot dog to $14 or $10 or whatever they are, a bucket of popcorn for $14. Nobody would have ever thought of raising those prices unless they knew that there was going to be people there that weren't going to leave, and that was their only option.
Sure. When you sell out the stadium and people can't go anywhere else, it makes
Yeah.
sense. Okay,
Yeah.
people are going to be hungry. You might as well raise the prices. Fine.
But if I'm sitting in the stands
But-
and I know that I'm not going to have a problem finding parking when I come back,
Yeah,
no, I'll see you after the seventh inning stretch.
absolutely. I'm out of here. Right. Good luck with that. Right. So yeah, that's been that. You're 100% right. That's a big issue with that. But
Well,
all right, I know we got to wrap this up. A couple things on here. I got asked real quick. Let's see. Oh yeah, former chief of Valley Pass, Chief Rust. Chief Rust was a huge part of the fire service in the state of Texas, and he was actually a big part of the Winter Garden District, which we're a part of. I said as the fourth vice president for the Winter Garden District, and so I want to say, to Pat, his wife, and to the entire Valverde fire family. May God be with you. May God comfort you, and rest in peace, Chief Rust. He just passed today, and so our prayers and thoughts are always with them. And I want to make sure we got that out there. But
I'm sorry for y'all's loss.
well, I appreciate that. He was a huge component. 3 decades he served in the Winter Garden District, and not just his Valverde family. He served all of the members of the 17 counties of
Wow.
Winter Garden District, and so.
It's a lot of counties.
That's a huge loss in the fire service. So God bless him, and Pat, our thoughts and prayers are with you, and thank you for your continued service.
Well, I think we didn't let Keita talk at all.
I know.
Katie, got anything?
No,
just,
I'm good.
Just producing.
I'm just
Okay.
listening.
You know, it's
All
funny when Jamie's here. She inserts herself. Like
Oh.
we don't have to. We
Oh,
don't
yeah.
have to tell her to talk.
She's like, "Excuse me, I'm coming in right here." Uh-huh.
You guys are wrong. Let me tell you why.
I guarantee she is probably asleep right now. So we're gonna go ahead and close this one down. My
Yep.
name is Chuck Weimer.
I'm Chief Atkinson.
And I'm Nikita.
If you treat your dreams like hobbies, they're just gonna be dreams. Go out, do something. Thanks for tuning in.
Good night. All right, guys. Thanks for being with us. We
Nope,
appreciate
still
you.
up. Jamie's still there.
Love you, Jamie.
I'm sorry, I was
Thank you
texting
for
her a
being
little
with
bit
us.
ago.
God bless you all. Appreciate y'all. Make sure if you want to follow us, you can either follow my TikTok, you can follow Chuck Weimer Music TikTok, or you could just go to the Spotify or YouTube and follow the Rhythm and Rescue podcast, which is always welcomed. As a matter of fact, why don't you follow all of them? You can follow me on
There you go.
TikTok. You can follow Chuck Weimer on TikTok. You can follow the Rhythm and Rescue